Hi children, I hope you liked my previous video. Anticipating the same, I have come with another new chapter, A Triumph of Surgery, from your another book, Supplementary Reader, Footprints Without Feet. Children, A Triumph of Surgery, the very title of the story, has a very important role to play. But before that, let me just give you a short glimpse, an overview of the story. The story has been written by a famous writer, James Herriot. The subject of the story is a pet dog which is spoiled by its owner. The owner indulges her dog so much with food and other comforts that the dog has become overweight and cannot even walk properly. Finally, the dog has been taken to a veterinary doctor who treats the dog without using a single medicine. And here, this is what the title reflects, a triumph of surgery, where you will find quite ironical. Without any sort of operation, the doctor was able to cure the dog. The dog is left with all other dogs so that it can play and get the much needed physical exercise. And after a period of enough physical activities, you see the dog loses much of its fat and becomes hale and hearty once again. Well, children, all the chapters we have done in class, you will find every chapter has to do something with values, something with your real life application. Very important. So, here this chapter also has the same. Apparently, when you will read the entire chapter, you will find this is a simple story with a simple subject. But if we try to read between the words, the story has much significance for our life as well. You will see or must have experienced many kids who are overweight and spoiled because their parents just try to meet every demand of the kid. The kid later in life develops into a couch potato, which is not at all good for life. Now, coming on to the chapter. You see, children, the chapter is again very important, and what you need to reflect more is on the theme of the story. Now, well, the theme is already reflecting, that is the blind love which we possess for the one whom we love the most. Mrs. Pumphrey had no idea that her blind and extreme love for her dog Tricky would take her into a big, big trouble. Now, coming on to the main part of the story. Well, you see, Tricky was a small dog, a normal small dog. His mistress Pumphrey pampered him very much. She overfed him. She gave him food rich with fats. Tricky never refused food any time. Of course, it was not Tricky's mistake. Whatever came on the way, Tricky took it. He was always greedy for food, as Mrs. Pumphrey had made the dog like that. He liked cream cakes, biscuits very much. Mrs. Pumphrey gave him cod liver oil and Horlicks. She gave him wine to drink at times. This all made Tricky, like a bloated sausage. He became too fat, unable to walk, became very less energetic, lazy, and the dog had become inactive. He became uninterested in things. He kept lying all day on the carpet. He had some bouts of vomiting. Mrs. Pumphrey thought that he was seriously ill, and being, a lover of pet, she immediately called Mr. James Herriot, who was a vet surgeon. Mr. Herriot expected that to happen because he was quite aware of Mrs. Pumphrey's way. He knew that Tricky was suffering because of overeating. So the dog was, already aware of the matter. He did not even have to diagnose. He had already made his plans. He took a firm line. He said Tricky he said that Tricky must be admitted in the hospital for a fortnight. Fortnight, children? At least 2 weeks. This suggestion made Mrs. Famre almost swooned. She was like unable to resist. She loved her pet very much. She thought that Tricky could not live even a single day without seeing his mistress. But Mr. Harriet wrapped him in a blanket, took him out of the house, and put him in his car. The departure was really, really pathetic for the lady. She could not tolerate. All the house was aroused. The maids were putting Tricky's things in the car. Everyone was in tears. You just see the scenario. Excessive of anything is not good, children. And the same here, the same here, the lady suffers. The doctor took the dog away in his car to the surgery. When Harriet reached his home, the household dogs surrounded him. They sniffed Tricky and showed no interest in him. Till 2 days, Harriet did not give anything to eat. He gave him a lot of water to drink. Then the doctor started giving him some light food. He gave him no medicine as it was not required. After 2 days, Tricky had started taking interest in his surrounding. He mixed up with other dogs. It enjoyed being rolled over. He became a member of the gang. At home, he had almost no exercise, but at the surgery, he had a lot of exercises and fun. Children, natural instinct should not be put into a halt. When you fidget with the natural instincts of any animal, of any creature, you actually trouble that creature a lot. You bring trouble to the creature. So we need to understand the natural instincts of any particular animal. Controlled diet and activities are very much required. Mrs. Pumphrey remained anxious about Tricky's health. The doctor told him that he was better and was convalescing. He was improving. This made her think that he had gone through some surgery. She was not aware how the dog was being treated. So she sent daily 2 dozen fresh round eggs, wine, and brandy for him so that he might recover soon. Still, she had not changed. But the doctor did not give those things to him because he really did not need this type of diet. And the doctor even did not inform that how he was actually treating. He just wanted the lady to realize the fact. The doctor and his partners enjoyed these eggs, wine and brandy. After a fortnight, Mrs. Pumphrey came to collect Tricky. She was tensed and worried. Children, why? Because Tricky had lost weight. She did not hope that he was all right, but when the doctor brought Tricky, he jumped at once into Mrs. Pumphrey's arms. She was surprised to see all this, and she was, compelled to state that it was a victory of surgery. Really, it was a victory of surgery. Now, you see, children, the same happens in our life. The same happens in our life. Sometimes parents do not understand. The same condition exists in our life. How some parents do not understand. They just simply pamper their children without understanding the consequences they might have to face. They spoil their children in the name of love and care. They not only feed them junk but also spoil their social habits. And this kind of behavior, actually, the chapter somewhere tries to teach these things not only to children but also to our parents, that this kind of behavior is very harmful for children. Such overprotective parental behavior hinders their growth as adults. In fact, it sows the seeds of greed and dependency in them. So, children, if you remember, I spoke about what are we going to learn from this chapter. So, don't we find that the situation today is quite similar with certain parents and children? In fact, as I said, no, it sows the seeds of greed and dependency in them. They become stubborn. Real scenario is that sometimes children become stubborn and do not learn to value anything. For them, hard work becomes a myth as they get everything easily. Over pampered children often fail to face the hardships of life later. As for them, life has been a cakewalk. Pampering children in moderation is healthy, but excess of it is harmful. It is not just bad for humans, but also for animals, as we have seen in the story, A Triumph of Surgery. Well, children, what we learned from this chapter is that we need to understand what is important for us is not excessive of anything. We need to understand the very fact for a healthy growth, for a healthy growth of children, we should not indulge into overeating, or the consequences would be same as Mrs. Pumphrey had to face. So, children, with this, I conclude the chapter A Triumph of Surgery. My suggestion, as always, has been you need to give a thorough reading to the chapter, and of course, my explanations would definitely help you to answer the following questions. Meanwhile, take care of yourself, stay at home. Thank you.